Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of February 7th, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Muhammad, MGT.
I'm Colonel AUC Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. Strategic strikes on infrastructure. From February 1st to 7th, the Russian armed forces conducted 8 group strikes using high-precision weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles. These attacks targeted crucial gas and energy infrastructure that supports Ukraine's military-industrial complex, along with military airfields, UAV assembly areas, ammunition depots, and fuel storage.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, your trusted source for the latest developments on security and defense operations involving military forces. I'm your host, and today we have an exclusive interview with Colonel AUC Oguntoye, who will provide insights into the progress of the special military operation as of February 7th, 2025. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's start with the big picture. Over the past week, what have been the key strategic objectives for Russian forces?
From February 1st to 7th, our forces executed 8 group strikes using high-precision weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles. These operations were directed at Ukraine's military-industrial infrastructure, particularly targeting gas and energy facilities that provide direct support to their war effort. Additionally, we struck military airfields, drone assembly and storage sites, and training facilities for drone operators and electronic warfare specialists. Ammunition depots, fuel storage facilities, and temporary deployment points for Ukrainian forces were also heavily damaged.
It sounds like these strikes were focused on disrupting Ukraine's ability to sustain military operations. What impact have they had on the battlefield?
Yes, by disrupting logistics and supply lines, we've significantly degraded the enemy's operational capacity. Over the past week, 19 Ukrainian servicemen surrendered along the contact line, further signaling the pressure being placed on their forces.
Let's move to the Kursk region, where Ukrainian forces have been launching counteroffensives. What happened there over the past few days?
Ukrainian forces attempted a counteroffensive in the Kursk region, particularly toward Cherkasskaya, Konopelka, and Ulanok. In total, 8 waves of attacks were launched. However, our North group of forces successfully repelled all of them. During the broader operation in this sector, Russian airstrikes, unmanned aerial vehicles, and artillery fire targeted and inflicted significant losses on Ukrainian heavy mechanized, airborne assault, and territorial defense brigades.
Can you provide specifics on Ukrainian losses in the Kharkiv sector?
In Kharkiv, Ukrainian forces, including motorized infantry, airborne assault brigades, a National Guard brigade, and 2 territorial defense brigades, were severely weakened. In the past week alone, Ukrainian forces lost more than 2,020 servicemen, 21 tanks, and 161 combat armored vehicles. Additionally, we destroyed 132 vehicles, 35 field artillery guns, and 5 field ammunition depots. Our West group of forces successfully liberated Novominsk, securing a more advantageous tactical position.
You mentioned Novominsk. What were the Ukrainian losses in that operation?
Ukrainian forces suffered heavy losses in the liberation of Novominsk. Their mechanized, tank, airborne, mountain assault, and territorial defense brigades, along with the National Guard brigade, were engaged and suffered over 1,835 casualties. In addition, we destroyed 2 tanks, 19 combat armored vehicles, including 8 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carriers, 71 vehicles, 32 field artillery pieces, and 20 ammunition depots. Of note, 11 Ukrainian electronic warfare stations were also taken out, significantly reducing their ability to counter our operations.
What about the southern and eastern fronts? How has the fighting progressed in those areas?
In the southern sector, our forces improved tactical positions and inflicted losses on 4 mechanized, motorized infantry, assault, and airmobile brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces, along with a Marine brigade and 2 territorial defense brigades. Over the past week, Ukraine lost up to 1,510 servicemen, a tank, 5 combat armored vehicles, 26 cars, and 14 field artillery guns, including 7 Western-made ones. We also destroyed 16 field ammunition depots and 4 electronic warfare stations. In the eastern sector, Russian forces advanced deeper into enemy defenses, engaging tank, mechanized, and airborne assault brigades, as well as a Marine brigade and 3 territorial defense brigades. Ukrainian forces suffered over 955 casualties, 3 tanks, including a German-made Leopard, 19 combat armored vehicles, 14 cars, and 31 field artillery pieces, including 7 NATO-supplied units. 2 electronic warfare stations were also neutralized.
Let's turn to the center group of forces. I understand several settlements were liberated this past week.
Yes, our center group of forces successfully liberated Krimskoye, Baranovka, and Druzhba in the Donetsk People's Republic. In doing so, we engaged and defeated multiple Ukrainian formations, including 2 heavy, 7 mechanized, 2 Ranger, airmobile, and motorized infantry brigades, along with National Guard units and the Vlyat Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian National Police. Ukrainian forces lost over 3,720 servicemen, 4 tanks, including a German-made Leopard, 29 armored combat vehicles, 2 U.S.-made Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and a Viking armored personnel carrier from Sweden. We also destroyed 44 vehicles and 34 field artillery pieces, 3 of which were Western-made.
This past week also saw significant air and missile engagements. What can you tell us about that?
Russian aerospace forces achieved air superiority, with one of our fighter aircraft successfully shooting down a Ukrainian Su-27 in an air battle. Additionally, our air defense systems intercepted a long-range Neptune guided missile, 6 French-made Hammered guided aerial bombs, 41 U.S.-made HIMARS rockets, and 630 Ukrainian drones over the course of the week.
What goal are the Ukrainian armed forces trying to achieve with a new attack in the Kursk region?
Currently, fighting is underway near the intersection of Selo and Shlyak streets. In addition to FPV drones, the paratroopers are receiving fire support from BMD-4M and BMD-2 crews with reinforced anti-drone visors, which are firing 100mm ZOF-70 Vishnya high-explosive fragmentation shells at Ukrainian armed forces positions, as well as 30mm incendiary shells. The strikes near Sudza are not being carried out just like that. The main goal is to slow down the advance of the Russian armed forces to the city itself through Magnovka, which is located at an extremely short and psychologically difficult distance from the city for the Ukrainian armed forces.
And specifically in the Kursk direction, where we've seen intense fighting, what do the cumulative Ukrainian losses look like?
In the Kursk direction alone, Ukrainian forces have lost over 58,230 servicemen, 348 tanks, 1,797 armored combat vehicles, 412 artillery pieces, and significant amounts of specialized equipment, including HIMARS launchers and electronic warfare systems. Ukrainian forces have made multiple failed attempts to launch counteroffensives, but all have been repelled with heavy losses. Our forces remain firmly in control across multiple operational sectors. We will continue to press the advance, maintain tactical superiority, and eliminate remaining enemy formations. The focus remains on denying Ukrainian forces the ability to regroup and mount counteroffensives while securing strategic locations to strengthen our battlefield posture.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you. It's important to keep the public informed. Today, African Conflicts highlights the ongoing tensions in the Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly the situation in Goma, where intense fighting between M23 rebels and Congolese forces has caused significant damage and fear among African residents. Reports indicate that Rwandan troops are reportedly suffering heavy casualties amidst their involvement in the conflict, despite official denials of such a role.